Has to score for Serbia.
Yes! Oh my god! Oh my god!
How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Brian, and today we have some Scotland news for our World Cup qualifiers coming up next week against Denmark, Moldova and Austria. Now, Steve Clarke has just signed an extension on the contract for being Scotland manager, and I'm quite happy with that. Although he might not be playing the most appealing and entertaining type of football, he's been getting his wins, and he got us into a tournament for the first time in 20 odd years. So you've got to give the man his due. We're going to stick behind you, Stevie. You've done the nation proud, and we are so glad that you're still going to be sticking with us. Now, to address the Euros, I did get caught up in the hype a bit, not going to lie. I thought we were going to go and do a lot better than we'd done. But I need to take it on the chin. We hadn't been there in 20 odd years. A lot of the players hadn't played in international tournaments before. To be fair, a lot of them, they all have, because obviously they weren't even playing back then. But I'm proud of what they've done. We didn't get battered off the pitch in every game. Like, obviously we didn't lose to England, who ended up making it to the final. Thank God they lost. But the boys done us proud. They are going to go forward into this World Cup qualifiers. We're sitting at second in the table, which is really good for us. We actually have a chance of going a bit further, because we need to sort of look at it where we are right now. We have a lot of players now who are getting more and more experience, and they're a young squad. We're building for the future. So next week's World Cup in Qatar could be our chance to shine and actually get into a World Cup since the first time since 1998. Now, in this video I'm going to go through a lot of the team changes compared to what we've got in the Euros. We've lost our main goalkeeper in David Marshall, and John McLaughlin's also not making it. But we have some new guys coming in and they look absolutely great. So I'm going to hope to see a little bit more from them. I'm going to be going through my starting 11 for the Denmark game next week. If you are new around here and want to stay up to date with all the Scotland content, please make sure to drop a sub down below, leave a like on the video, and please tell me your starting 11s in the comments down below. Last time I'd done this for the Euros, I was reviewing everyone's and giving compliments and everyone's and having good discussions. So if you want to get involved with that, please make sure to leave a comment down below. So without any further ado, let's have a look at the team changes. Let's see who my starting 11 is versus Denmark. Okay, looking at the news here, we are going to be missing Scott McTominay, which is a huge loss to us. He is one of our main men in midfield, although he does sit back and centre back for us quite a lot. But I think that's the sort of area where we've got quite a few people that can come in. You've got Scott McKenna, you've got Liam Cooper, you've got Declan Gallagher, you've got Jack Hendry. So we've got that sort of versatility back there. I think this is going to be a great opportunity for some of the young guys to start shine, but I think we're going to start losing a lot of the long balls and headers in midfield, because a lot of the players we have in midfield are quite short. So we're going to have to try and have a different tactics to sort of work around that in the game. I'm looking forward to seeing how he recovers, because he's obviously playing in Man United. He's going to play in Champions League, which I'll be watching a lot. Hope to see him grow as a player, and we wish him a speedy recovery and hope to see you back in the October games. Now, moving on to Andy Robertson, who has just signed a new 5-year deal with Liverpool, who scraped into Champions League at the end of the Premier League last year, but we know that he is one of the greatest left backs in the world, no question about it. But we also have Kieran Tierney, who's in amongst that conversation at all times as well. He did not deserve to be in the losing team against that Brentford game, as one of the pundits says, and I have to agree more. He was fantastic that day, and we really hope that he's going to fill the shoes of Andy Robertson. Although Steve Clarke might play them both, is Andy Robertson going to be match fit? Because their current left back at Liverpool is doing a great job. I do expect him to maybe get some minutes off the bench this week against Chelsea, but we see how we get on. I'm really hoping to see that he will maybe get a game, but he isn't in my starting 11, as you will see later on in this video. We wish him the best and hope he does make an appearance, maybe off the bench against Austria or Moldova, get his match fitness up, because I think Klopp would want to see that as well. But hopefully it doesn't have any long-term injury effects either. But we wish him all the best, and he hopefully does make an appearance in these next 3 games. Now, moving on to one of the major talking points, we are going to be losing David Marshall, our first choice keeper for all the games in the Euros, which is a huge loss to us. But he's not getting the game time at Derby, so we can't really play someone who's not getting game time. He's become Derby's 3rd choice keeper, which isn't good enough. We need someone who's able to play a bit more and get a lot more game time, especially in these 3 vital games against Denmark, who obviously made it to the semi-finals, and Austria, who are one of the better teams in our group. We really have to have a really strong group of players now coming through, and a keeper is going to be vital. Now this leaves a great opportunity for a man called Zander Clark, who with St Johnstone won a cup double last year, winning the Scottish Cup and League Cup, and he was integral to that happening. He was very crucial in saving penalties, which is what we need, especially going forward with this team, and I think it's going to be a great opportunity for him to go. Is he going to take Craig Gordon's spot? Maybe not, because Craig Gordon obviously has been very, very good for Scotland and he's a lot more experienced, but I maybe would like to see Zander Clark maybe make an appearance against Moldova. I don't think he's got the team experience yet to be doing it against Denmark, but maybe in Moldova he's going to get a little go in there because they're sort of the easier team in the group to beat, which I think will be great experience for him going forward, and maybe I can be proven completely wrong and he could be our #1 goalkeeper in a couple of years. Even though he's 29, goalkeepers tend to go a bit older. Now let's go through the entire team sheet now. With goalkeepers, we've got Craig Gordon, Zander Clark and Liam Kelly from Motherwell. And our defenders, we've got Stephen O'Donnell and Nathan Patterson as our 2 right backs, Declan Gallagher, Jack Hendry, Grant Hanley, Scott McKenna, Liam Cooper as our main centre backs, as well as Kieran Tierney can also slide in there whenever Andy Robertson plays, as we've seen that happen quite a few times. And we have Greg Taylor as well. And moving on to the midfield, we have my main boy in Billy Gilmore, Kenny McLean, Callum McGregor, Stuart Armstrong, David Turnbull, John McGinn and the new guy Lewis Ferguson. This is going to be a great year for Billy Gilmore, who is now moved to Norwich on loan from Chelsea after picking up a Champions League title with them, who I think is going to be the main man there this year. Of course, Norwich obviously are the up and down team. They'll never stay in the Premier League, they'll never stay in the Championship, they just keep yo-yoing in between. But I think this year is going to be a great development opportunity for him, trying to control the game, and he's going to learn a lot because he's going to come up against the big teams, but he's not going to have players around him that are Champions League winners to rely on. He's going to have to do this himself, and I think it's going to be a great growth opportunity for him, and this is going to be fantastic for Scotland going forward. And moving into our strikers or forwards, we have Lyndon Dykes, we have Che Adams, who scored a banging goal, although it was a deflected goal against Man United at the weekend, Ryan Christie, Ryan Fraser, James Forrest and Kevin Nisbet. This is where we lack. This is one of Scotland's problems. We can control the defence, we can control the midfield, but we really struggle to put the ball away in the net. Now, Che Adams was very hyped up by me going into the Euros. I think he was going to be a great player and nothing came of it. He looked a bit sluggish at times, but when he plays for Southampton, he looks great. And Southampton, I think, are going to struggle this year. But I don't think he will. I think he's going to be that maybe double-digit at least goals in the Premier League, and hopefully he does get to stay in the Premier League and get more experience and stick with Scotland. Is he going to do it against Denmark? Who knows? I hope so, but bearing on the side of caution, probably not. I think it's our midfield that's going to sort of control the game because we've got a good set of players there. Our strikers just don't really have it going. Lyndon Dykes looked promising a couple of years ago whenever he was in the qualification stages, but yeah, again, nothing really is coming going for it. The guy's great at heading, no doubt about it. He's a really good target man, but he's not got the feet. He's great in the air, but nothing to do with his feet, which I hope to see disproven, like all the time. If I ever make a criticism of Scotland, I always hope to get disproved, but we'll see how we get on. So that's the team news so far. Now let's have a look at who I picked for my starting 11. Okay, I'm going to be running through my starting 11 now, and remember, this is my opinion, this is not Steve Clark's, this is my own one. This is who I think should be playing against Denmark, obviously being the best team in the group, being the Euro semi-finalists. They're going to be very dangerous, they have a lot going forward, and we have to be prepared for this. So remember, this is my own opinion. If you disagree because I haven't picked a player that you think's amazing, you can leave it in the comments down below and we can have a discussion about it, but for now, this is only my opinion. So starting off, I am going to be picking Craig Gordon as our #1 keeper. David Marshall, as I said, is no longer included in the squad because he has not got the match experience, and I do think the other two just don't have the experience at international level. Craig Gordon does. I think he's very capable of doing this, although he is going to have a hard job. It's not going to be easy against Denmark and Austria, but I think out of the three, he's the most capable of being able to do this. I think he's got big shoes to fill and a big role to do now, but out of the three, I think he'll do it. I would like to see Xander Clark and Liam Kelly maybe getting a game in against Moldova, because it should be easier, although Scotland have a habit of making that more difficult for ourselves. So my first choice keeper is going to be Craig Gordon. Next up for left back, I have got Kieran Tierney. As I said earlier on, Andy Robertson I don't believe will be match fit. I would like to see him included at least in the game and maybe come on as a sub, but I think starting off the game we have to go with a solid formation, and I think left back has got to be filled by Kieran Tierney. He's our best left back available, no question about it. He is our first choice left back for this game against Denmark. Next up has got to be one of my favourite players in Declan Gallagher. I think he's so underrated and should have got more game time in the Euros, because he was integral to us qualifying for the tournament. He's been pretty good for Motherwell as well, and I think he's got not long left in his career because he's in his 30s now, but I think he's going to be very good. He's got to be one of our choice left back. He's got the experience and he's a hard man. Like, not much gets past him. Might not be the quickest, but he can put a challenge in, and that's what we need. We need a lot of strong players at this back, because as I said earlier on, our midfield is not the strongest since we're missing Scott McTominay, and I think Declan Gallagher is going to be an integral role in the centre back position. Much like Declan Gallagher, Liam Cooper is going to be pinging up the right side. He's got that ability to go down that wing and link up, as well as move out of position and find them pockets of gaps. He's quite a good player. He's got to be our second choice centre back. Probably the one I expect most people to get angry with. I am going to be going back to Stephen O'Donnell. Although Nathan Patterson was my first choice right back for the Euros, he didn't get any game time. Stephen O'Donnell had a Jack Grealish in his pocket against that England game. He was amazing. I think that he's got to solidify this spot. Although he is playing for Motherwell, he was brilliant. I think it's going to be a great opportunity now for him to try and step up and actually become a better player, although he is approaching 30 as well. He's got a lot of experience in him. I think he's got the strength to go for it. The pace is going to be a bit of a difficult one, but Denmark don't have the fastest players apart from maybe one or two. That Braithwaite is rapid. He's going to be a danger man, but I think Stephen O'Donnell can have it as long as he doesn't come out of position as much as he did against the Czech Republic. I think if he sits back a bit and let our midfield try and pass the ball up, he's going to be a great link up there, and he should be taking this right back spot. Nathan Patterson, I know a lot of your Rangers fans out there will be fuming, but I just don't think he's got the Scotland experience, and we have a lot of other players that are young. Maybe overloading with too many young players is going to be a problem, but I think that Stephen O'Donnell is going to be our choice here for right back. Now, moving on to the midfield, I am going to be picking Super John McGinn. Not really much to add to that. One of the best players we've got. So underrated for Villa. I think he's fantastic for Scotland. He's a very good Roman player and can move forward as well when necessary. His only issue is he's not the tallest guy, but that's why I've picked really big centre backs. I think John McGinn is a staple in any Scotland squad. I don't think there's anyone who wouldn't pick him. He's amazing, and he is going to be running right into our midfield. Next up, another main man, the man of the match against England, Billy Gilmour. Now, the main man at Norwich, no questions about it. He is fantastic. He is going to be coming straight into this squad. He's going to be dominating this. He's a Champions League winner. He was unbelievable at the Euros when he could only play 2 out of 3 games, and he was probably the most talked about player because of how fantastic he is. He does not stop running, and that's what we need. Although these two boys in midfield might be a bit shorter, they're quick and their passing is amazing, which is how we're going to have to break down Denmark. Now, someone who is in fantastic form for Celtic right now in David Turnbull. It was a shame not to see him get any minutes in the Euros, but there wasn't really an opportunity for him to break into the squad, apart from maybe switching him straight for Billy Gilmour in the the Croatia game. Maybe that was an opportunity where Steve Clarke could reflect back on that he could have done this, but the past is the past. David Turnbull has been in fantastic form for Celtic right now, especially in the Europa League qualifiers, and we want to see a bit more of him going forward. I think that he's going to play a really good position in this cam role going forward, because he has a strike and a half on him, and maybe some outside the box shots is what Scotland need to actually get some more goals. And coming into left mid here, I am going to be picking Callum McGregor. He is not normally a left mid player, but he has got the ability to play there. He's been fantastic for Celtic as well as David Turnbull. I think that that's what we need going down this left hand side, is a bit of creativity and pace. Yes, you can make arguments for other players, especially when Tierney and Robertson can play up the pitch a bit, but we don't have Robertson in this starting 11 that I picked, and I think Callum McGregor can definitely fill that slot. He did score the only goal for us in the Euros, so I think even just based on that alone, he deserves a spot in this squad. Moving on to right mid, it is going to be a Celtic trio. We are going to be picking James Forrest, who has obviously macked a lot of match fitness recently, but when you've seen him come on as subs for Celtic, he's been fantastic. Hopefully by now, or especially in a week's time, he will be fully match fit as long as he doesn't get a knock at the weekend. I think he's been amazing. This whole trio of Celtic going forward is one of the reasons why they're doing so well and scoring so many goals. They're amazing together, they link off well together, and I think that's something that we've got going forward. Ali McCoy said when Scotland qualified he never cheered for a Celtic player as much in his life, and I think having the three of these in midfield is going to be a huge benefit to Scotland. And our main striker is going to be Che Adams. I did give him a bit of criticism earlier on, but I do stand by that. I do think he has potential because he's sort of in his mid-20s now, and he's gotten goals for Southampton. He scored quite a few last year, breaking into double digits, and he scored a great goal. Yes, it was a deflection against Man United at the weekend there. He's got the ability going forward. We can't take that away from him. I think he's going to be fantastic for us. He's definitely a better choice than Lyndon Dykes, because I think with this entire midfield and strikers, they're not the tallest, but Che Adams can sort of bring that ball down, and he's got a lot of strength behind him. I think we're going to be having an on-the-floor passing game, as well as having really big players at the back, which I think is going to benefit us against Denmark. So this is who I'm going to be selecting as our main striker. So that is my starting 11 squad versus Denmark for next week. As I said earlier on, if you like it, disagree with it, have some alterations, have some changes you want to make, please leave them in the comments down below. I would love to hear back from you. If you are new around here, please make sure to sub to the channel. I will be bringing out a video next week with my fan reaction to the Denmark game. That's going to be all for today's video, guys. I hope to see you all next week. Thank you and goodbye.